but welcome everyone. And we're excited to have you all here with us today for our webinar on onQ for TAs, or tools for teaching at Queen's. I'll introduce myself and then I'll pass it over to Selena to introduce herself before we get started. So my name is Carolyn McCrae and I'm an educational developer at the Center for Teaching and Learning at Queen's. And my role at the center is really focusing on grad student and postdoctoral fellow professional development.
Hi everyone, my name's Selena Edlas. I'm the educational technologist at the Center for Teaching and Learning. So my role is predominantly supporting anyone who teaches at Queen's. So that includes faculty, adjuncts, grad students, in their use of technology at Queen's. So that's we have a suite of enterprise tools, which we're going to be showing you today, and we support those tools here at the center.
So before we jump into talking about each of the tools individually, I'd like to start the session by acknowledging the land that I'm on today and by inviting you to think about what land you're on as well. So I'm currently on main campus at Queen's University, which occupies the unceded traditional territory of the Anishinaabe and Haudenosaunee people. And part of my land acknowledgement is thinking about what the land means to me. And today in particular, I think is a pretty classic fall day. And I'm thinking about this period of transition and how days in the fall like this are really kind of, you don't know if it's going to be super warm out, you don't know if it's going to be kind of cool, and the weather is changing. And so I'm really excited to start seeing the fall transition and to see the changing of the leaves outside my window. So as we discuss the tools today, I invite you to put questions into the chat. We will be monitoring the questions and pausing at many points throughout the workshop to offer you the chance to ask some specific questions about each of the different tools.
So yes, I'd like to just add to what Carolyn's just mentioned, that at any point I'm happy to do a demonstration of any of the tools. If there's something specific that you'd like to know, please, put those questions out there as we go through each tool. So first of all, we're going to start with the learning management system. As most of you know, we use Brightspace by D2L as our learning management system, and the Queen's name for it is onQ. And this is where, obviously the instructors can build their courses, uploading content. So content could include, videos, PDFs, Word documents. We can add various types of assessments. And a lot of you, if you've been students at Queen's already, you'll know that there are assignments. You can create test quizzes, and you can attach everything to the gradebook. The communication tools include a class list, emails, announcements, discussion forums, and chats. And then we have many tools integrated with onQ, from the library course reserve system. We have Turnitin available, and some other tools which I'm going to mention later on. So obviously you log into onQ with your NetID and password. Now, when you're working as a TA, you have to use your employee NetID. So occasionally we will give you access with your student NetID if your employee NetID isn't quite active, just so that you can work with instructors and help them set up their courses. But once it comes into the course running, you must use your employee NetID. Sometimes we find that TAs don't have enough access in onQ. The instructor may add you in one role where it doesn't give you the ability, for example, to add new course materials. So there are a variety of different roles for TAs. And so if an instructor asks you to do something that you can't do, it just means that your role needs to be upped. So a few of the roles. You know, grader is just a typical, you can just grade students. But for example, if the instructor wanted you to build assessments or maybe add content, you would need a grader developer role. So it's quite useful to know that, you know, you might need to say to the instructor, I can't do that. You need to give me a higher role within the course. Obviously, if you've been taught in onQ, you know how to get there. onq.queensu.ca, and there is a whole load of instructions on the onQ support site that will support you working with instructors or teaching yourself. Let's just go back again. I didn't mean to move forward. Does anyone have any questions about onQ that they'd like addressed, or anything you'd like me to demonstrate? Okay, so let's move on. So as some of you, okay, so will we be an employee ID at the start of a TA? Yes, you will. Yes, well, as soon as you have your contract, you can go and claim your employee net ID through the net ID web address that you'll be given. I can't remember it off the top of my head, but basically you go and claim it. Okay. Okay, so moving on, as there should be instructions given. Yes, I know. It's usually, it does cause a lot of confusion when people are assigned their employee net ID about how to go and get it. So yes, I totally agree. Okay, great. Thanks, Carla. Carla has just put where you can activate your employee net ID into the chat. So okay, so the next tool we're going to talk about is the course reserves, which is the new reading list integration that has been brought in to replace Aries, which was the previous system we used. And this system's called Leganto, and some of you may have seen it this semester, but it's a really good system. It's actually a huge improvement on the last system. And it's fully integrated with onQ, so it allows instructors to add the link between the library and their course, and add resources to their courses, so journal articles, books, digitized book chapters, videos as well. So any course materials can be added. And it also means that the library will check to make sure that the course is copyright compliant. So it kind of takes that responsibility out of the instructor's hands. The library can also purchase things on the instructor's behalf as well. So it's a really good tool to use. You know, if an instructor doesn't even want to add the resources themselves, they can literally add the link to the course and send their syllabus to the e-reserves at the library, and they will add all the resources for them. So it's a really good service, and if any of you are teaching, this would be a great thing to add to your course. And I can maybe just give a quick demo of it if anyone's interested. If you'd like a demo, I'm happy to show you if you think it would be useful. Otherwise, we can just keep moving on.
I see a thumbs up, so I'm thinking maybe a demo for this one would be
great. Demo would be good. Okay.
And I think this one is really helpful in terms of you know, a lot, like traditionally we have the syllabus, and there's always been kind of this reading list for students of maybe some papers or book chapters that we want them to read. And the way Leganto integrates into our onQ system means that now, instead of a student seeing in the reading list what they're supposed to read and then having to kind of go find that through the library system, now what they'll be able to do is directly in the course, here's the reading, click on the reading, and it actually like opens it up right there for students, and to like, it's that direct link to give them access to the reading that they're supposed to be looking at. So it kind of simplifies the system for everyone. And I think that that's really important for TAs to know as well, that that this is something that could really benefit students, but it could also benefit you as a TA going into the week and saying, okay, these are what the readings are this week.
Sorry, because of my admin role, I have to just do, I have to impersonate an instructor role, otherwise it won't give me access. So within the course content, it's very easy to add a link to the course reserves. You can see I've got a few here already. But basically, to add the link through the existing activities in the content area, external learning tools, and you can just see course reserves there. So you literally just add it in. And that creates a connection between your course and the course reserves. Once you go in for the first time, you can click create a new reading list. When you do it with the real course, it will actually have your course name here. This is just a test course. And much like onQ, you can pick a template for your course reading. So you can basically pick, do I want to have module-based reading? So you can kind of match what you've got, how you've set up your course. So if you have a very module-based course, you could pick modules. If you like to do your course like a lot of people, which is week by week, you can pick the week by week template. If you feel like, oh, I'm not going to have that many readings, you know, maybe you just want to go with required and recommended as like 2 sections. So if I add weeks 1 to 12, you can see it just adds each week in for me. So there's a couple of quick things that I'm just going to show you. Obviously, we can't go into too much detail right now, but one of the best things that you can add to your browser from Leganto, the course reserves tool, is something called Cite It. And if you click on your initials in the corner and click on Cite It, you basically can drag this button up into your browser toolbar and add it in. And what this does is that it allows you to go to any website. So say I just go to queensu.ca, not that one. Okay, queensu.ca. I just want to go to the main Queen's website. Okay, and so you're on a website and you want to add that into your resources list. If you click on Cite It, it takes all the metadata from that website, and you can add it in to your course list. Now I've got so many in here, I don't actually know which one to add it to. I think it's this one. And it will add it straight in to your course, and you can specify which week to add it to.
Selena, we've got a great question in the chat. So for TAs that maybe are more involved with their course instructor on helping to build the onQ page, is there a role for TAs that would allow them to have access to do this?
Absolutely. So that's a great question. Under collaborators, your instructor would have to just add you. Once they've added you, you can go in and you can add the resources for them. So yeah, that's really, and that's another benefit of this tool that we didn't have in the old tool. It was very complicated to get TAs added, whereas it's really very straightforward here. So yes, just under collaborators, you can be added. Just quickly, the only other thing I want to show you right now is the add items button. So you can see how to add stuff from the web, and you can see it's added it in here. It's showing it as a web link, and it's added a lot of the metadata, and they can click through to it. The other ways of adding course materials to the course are through add items. You get to search the library. So this is connected directly to Alma, which is the library search tool. And you can search just like you would directly in the library by title, author, keyword, etc. So I'm just going to say, okay, think of a subject. Let's just do math, for example. And it's going to, you know, give me millions of resources. Okay, if I wanted to add this book, I can literally just take it and drag and drop it into the week I want it under, or I can click on it and add it this way. Okay, so really easy. If you want to upload a file like a PDF or you know, a document, you can just use the upload to file. Collection is if you've made a collection on the library in your library search, you can access your collection through this tool. So that's just, and blank form is another way of uploading a file or something directly to it. So you can see how easy it is. Everything is just drag and drop again. You know, you can move things around. And you can add new sections, and you can also create direct links to the readings. So if the instructor says, I don't want all my readings all in together, I want to put them individually in each week, again, find the reading, select it, and create a shareable link. Okay, copy to clipboard, go back to your course, and you create a link through upload create. There's the URL. You know, you put the name of the reading in. I obviously haven't got it, and create it, and that allows you to create that direct link to the reading. So they can also put those links right in to each week. So I'm going to leave it there. Obviously, there's a lot more you can do, but that's just a quick overview. Once all the readings and all the materials, so you can add videos, whatever you are having in the course, you need to send it to library review. The library will then review it and approve it, and then for students to be able to see it, it needs to be published. Okay. Any questions? Oh, well, let's switch them around.
I don't see any questions in the chat right now, so we'll
okay, great.
Move on to the next one.
Okay, we'll move forward.
If folks have questions, please feel free to put them in the chat, and we'll continue to try to answer them as best we can.
So Ensemble is the video streaming service that we use at Queen's. So obviously in the last year and a half, there's been a lot of use of videos, from whether they're recordings from Zoom or from Microsoft Teams, or instructors have created videos using Camtasia, and then they need somewhere to store videos. onQ has a 2 GB limit on uploaded files, and it's always been recommended that if you're going to host videos, that they're hosted on the streaming server. So our streaming platform, like I just said, is called Ensemble. Basically, you can access that through going to stream.queensu.ca. And the instructor would obviously access that. And then we have a lot of tutorials on how to use the streaming server available. once the videos have been uploaded to the stream, it's very easy to embed them in onQ directly from there. And the other thing that's a really, really useful tool available through Ensemble is this Google Chrome extension that instructors can add to their browser, to Google Chrome, which allows them to quickly record their screen or their web or use their webcam. So good for like quick short videos where they may want to just, you know, give a message to students, but a more personal message. So that's actually a really, really useful tool and really easy to use. And once they record their screen or record themselves, it goes directly into their Ensemble accounts. And again, they can add it in very easily through onQ. Carla's here, who is my colleague who works with me at the Centre for Teaching and Learning. I was just wondering, do grad students have access to an Ensemble account?
It depends on their role that they have. So some accounts are not provisioned in a library for Ensemble. So it depends what type of account was requested for them through their contract.
Yeah, so you may or may not, I guess it comes down to you may or may not be able to help your the instructor you're working with actually upload the videos and add them in. It may be a case of having to work along with them and helping them do it.
Yeah, sorry, not maybe the best answer you were looking for.
So we're going to move on to another tool. So a lot of the time where, you know, there's a lot of interest in student response systems. So you may have heard of things like Turning Point or iClicker or Learning Catalytics is another one. Poll Everywhere you may have heard of. These are all student response systems where, you know, instructors in a live class can, put a question to students and they can log into their phone or on their laptop and respond in real time. So these are, you know, this is a synchronous tool to be used in class. So there were various tools being used at Queen's until a couple of years ago, and then a prof in physics developed an in-house tool called Clicker, which is free for everyone to use at Queen's. It works well on a laptop. It works very, very well on a phone. And it allows instructors to poll students, quiz students, including a participation grade with these sessions that include various types of questions. So we have multiple choice, multi-select, true or false, short answer, and numerical questions. Any instructor can use Clicker. It's actually available at clicker.queensu.ca. It has single sign-on, so it means students can log in with their ID and password. So it's really simple and easy to use, and there is a manual as well available. I will make this PowerPoint available at the end as a PDF so that you can have access to all the links to, you know, quickly find you know, the resources that we're going through today. Clicker, I wouldn't recommend Clicker if for an online class. That's I think that would be my one thing. It doesn't embed into a PowerPoint. So a lot of these polling tools do embed like into a PowerPoint. So, you know, an instructor can go through the PowerPoint and then poll a question. It doesn't do that. So it means kind of like if they are presenting and using a PowerPoint, they would then have to have another, another tab available with the clicker tool. And for a lot of instructors, that's a lot to handle and in an online meeting. So it's better for, in-person classes. Oh, I'm scrolling through. Does anyone have any questions about Clicker? I'll just keep moving forward. Okay, so feedback fruits. So this is a relatively new tool that we brought in as we went remote. So actually, it's more than one tool. It's actually about 11 tools in the suite of tools. The most popular tools we're finding at Queen's are the group member evaluation. So that's where students can evaluate their performance, each other's performance in teamwork or group work. Peer review, which is again students reviewing each other's work, so assignments, or it could be a video, it could be a PowerPoint, where they provide feedback to each other on their work. The other really popular tools are the interactive video. So this allows an instructor to upload a video and for students to have to engage with that video. So rather than just, being passive and just watching the video, there will be questions that pop up. Students might be asked to respond, post a number of discussion threads throughout the video, and interact with each other. The same with the interactive document. Again, it's a reading, allows students to collaboratively read together and discuss the readings. So again, that's a very popular tool. So again, the discussion assignment, much like the interactive video, it allows students to have a discussion about the assignment. Feedback fruits, again, is available through onQ. It's directly integrated, so it works really well with onQ. Students access it through onQ, through the content area, and all the grades are, fed back to the onQ gradebook. So it's fully integrated. So I'll just keep moving forward unless Carolyn stops me and tells me there's anything I need to answer. So perusal is, again, another new tool that we brought in for remote teaching, and it's an interactive reading tool. So it allows instructors to upload readings, and again, students to discuss the reading online with each other. They can ask comments, they can annotate the readings, they can and they can be graded. So a bit different to the feedback fruits one. The way perusal works is it if you specify how many comments the students should write on the document, it can assign a grade based on the number of comments. So it can be used as a tool for, very, very easily grading participation. And that's how a lot of instructors use it. Obviously, it kind of grades the comments more on, obviously it can't really grade the quality of the content of the comments, more than just the fact that they have commented.
And I think this is a really cool tool to think about. A lot of the kind of maybe more upper year seminars and tutorials involve kind of some readings that you want students to be able to do and discuss in class. And then this is a way that you might prompt them to do kind of a reading and have like a mini discussion with some of their peers before coming to class. And having that kind of social reading as a group before to kind of prompt them to be ready for a discussion in class. And I think that's a way I've seen this used.
Yeah, I agree. And actually the feedback from the students is they really like it, even like the first and second year, especially with remote teaching, it gave them a chance to kind of like, kind of collaboratively read together and interact with each other.
Yeah, and I think one thing that's fun with something like this and Perusal is, even if you're not using it for grading purposes and just using it as the chance for them to do something interactive with their peers before coming to class, like I think it's fun for them to be able to comment and even say like, I have no clue what this sentence is trying to say, or that this passage is trying to convey in the reading, and then one of their peers can pipe up and answer that question. And so I think that's kind of a nice activity before they're coming into a tutorial, and maybe brings them a little more confidence coming into a tutorial to discuss the reading in more depth.
They can also post questions to the instructor as well. So if they, did read it before class, you could ask them to add any questions that they have that could be then very easily gone over in class. So yeah, again, it's fully integrated with onQ. So in terms of, it's single, the login is the same, and the grades go directly to the grade book in onQ as well. So that's Perusal. Obviously Zoom, everyone knows Zoom. It's, really been used a lot for teaching. It seems most instructors prefer to use Zoom for teaching and Teams for meetings. Just a couple of things about Zoom. Up to 300 participants is the maximum with a normal Zoom account. There is, we do have available at Queen's the ability to have larger classes than that, but that has to go through ITS. It's a different tool, slightly different version of Zoom. Obviously, if you're using it in class, it's a good way for instructors to provide the link to the class is through onQ. And, just for instructors to use the recurring meeting to create that class link, as opposed to a different link for each class, which I've seen as well. Some instructors do. In terms of collaboration, we have screen sharing, we have a chat tool, we have annotations, there's the ability to use the whiteboard and breakout rooms. And again, recordings, you can record the meetings and the transcripts. The recordings get saved to the desktop or Zoom cloud. With the screen recordings, we do have some students who require captioning. Carla and I have a team of students who can work to caption videos for instructors, if that's the case. So a lot of the time, these tools, the captions they create are about 80% accurate, and obviously someone with an accommodation needs accurate captioning. We can provide that as well. So Microsoft Teams, again, very well used at Queen's now. Most people are very comfortable with it. Can hold up to 1,000 participants, and now has the ability to create breakout rooms. So the limit on the number of breakout rooms is 300. Class teams. So to create class teams, the team must be created using the course creation tool. So when instructors create a course, they create it using the course creation tool. And when they're in the process of creating it, there is an option to create the class team that sends the enrollments from that class to Teams as well, and it will sync automatically. So you don't want instructors going in and just creating a team directly in Microsoft Teams. It has to be done through that connection piece. Again, for collaboration, there's, it allows for collaboration with screen sharing, chat, whiteboard, and breakout rooms. The one thing that Teams really has an edge on over Zoom is the file sharing abilities and the ability to collaborate using Office 365 and sharing files. So if you want to do group work and you want students to maybe work online together, Teams is a really good place to do it. And again, you can record the meetings. You can have live captions and transcripts. Actually, since I did this workshop a few weeks ago in the last week, the recordings are no longer saved automatically to Microsoft Stream. They are saved to the instructor's OneDrive, and they can be shared out from there. In fact, we've just got a lovely new infographic created on it, so I just missed updating that. And again, Office 365, you can log in through Queen's View. Obviously, if you're using Teams a lot, I would recommend downloading the actual Teams app to your desktop, then using Teams in the online version through Office 365.
And I think something that you mentioned, Selena, that's important to reiterate is about the group work aspect of Teams.
Yeah.
And, whether your role is a course instructor or a TA, I think the idea, if you have group work in your course and students are looking for a way to collaborate with each other, Teams is a great option to do that. Especially, I think it's going to be something that we carry forward, even when we're all back on teaching on campus and in person, is that sometimes it's hard for students to find chances to collaborate and to meet, to work on group work. And the nice thing about Teams is that file sharing piece that Selena mentioned, is that in a group, they can work on a collaborative document at any point together. It's not limited to kind of the hour that they want to physically get together on campus. Mm-hmm. So I think that that's something great if you have any type of group work in your course, is it's an option for how students can get together to work on their group work.
Yeah, definitely. Really, really useful. And there's different ways of setting up. We have lots of documentation on it if that's the case and the instructor wants to do that, or you want to help them do that. So some of the links on the last slide. Places you can go to look for information. So I'm just going to pop some of these open. So the first, that's the old link as well, where it's moved. So I will update that link. Sorry about that. We've done a lot to our website. So on the Centre for Teaching and Learning website, under Services and Support, there's a whole educational technology section. So if you come here, if you're not sure what tool to use, you can always look here. This will help you, select the right tool. For example, if you decide you want to conduct peer review, you can come here. It will give you some best practices, and then it will tell you the tools that are available, that are enterprise tools. That means you get support at Queen's with these tools. There is also a more tools to consider section. These are not necessarily going to be supported in the same way. So you can come here and look at, help you pick the tools you need to use. Also, if I just go back here, you can see there's a link to the onQ support website. And again, lots of documentation here. As a TA, you're going to be looking, when you're helping an instructor, you're going to be looking at this section or under the instructors section. But obviously, if students are asking you questions, how to do things, you can get the help for them here as well. We also run drop-ins twice a week, and as TAs, you're welcome to come to the drop-ins. So if you're struggling with grading or you've been asked to do something by the instructor, you don't know how to do it, you're welcome to come to the drop-ins. They're on Tuesday afternoons between 1:30 and 2:30, and Thursday mornings between 10 and 11 on Microsoft Teams. And the links are on this educational technology page on the CTL. They're also on the onQ support site. So various places you can get help. The other thing that we offer for instructors is we have a team of EdTech students. They're the students who also do the captioning as well. So if instructors do have a large task, maybe that they don't have the hours for you to do it because you're needed to do grading, for example, they can request a student come and help them as well. So there's that option, and also the option to caption videos.
When it comes to educational technology tools too, I think it's important for us to recognize that there are hundreds of different educational technology tools out there. But, I think what we're really showcasing today, and that's important to keep in mind, is the tools that are supported through the university that should be the first options for instructors and TAs to look at when planning what you want to do in the course. Because those are the ones that we can really help you with. They're the ones that Queen's usually has documentation on or licenses for, and that we can support. Because the last thing you want is to pick a tool that might help you do what you want to do, but if you get stuck, that we don't really have the support to help with.
Yeah, and just adding on to that, it's not, even if you feel like you could support the instructor using that tool, the students will not get any support. So for example, if you use Google Forms in a course instead of Office 365, one of the tools in the Office 365 suite, and students call into the IT support center because they can't get it to work, they will get no help. So it's not even just about the instructor and you getting help, it's about the students getting help. And that's why we try and encourage, if there's a tool that you really like and it's not supported by Queen's, you're more than welcome to contact us at the Centre for Teaching and Learning, to ask us if there's something that will do similar that is supported by Queen's. We can help with that. In particular, Office 365 now, it does a lot of things like the Google Documents can do. So people were used to using that tool, but if you can use Office 365, we recommend it. So yes, we have the drop-ins. There's also the IT services ticket desk, and then Carla and I are available to meet with one-to-one for specific things. Usually, to help instructors decide what tool they want to use or how to create an assessment using with which tool. So we're also available to help one-on-one.